Hi, and welcome to another edition of Fansview Fridays. Today we're going to be talking about Animazement 1999, which took place on March 18th through the 21st, 1999, in Raleigh, North Carolina. If this is your first time tuning into Fansview Fridays, this is a weekly tribute to my late friend Kevin Lillard, who used to run a website called Fansview. Thankfully, his website is archived mostly by web.archive.org, the Wayback Machine. And this is just a way for us to just look back at conventions from the 90s and early 2000s to see what it was like back then. And we really think, as fandom historians, this is a great way to preserve history and to know what it was like back then so we can just learn from our past so we can move forward in the future. And I wholeheartedly agree on that as a fandom archivist. Again, I am Nadeshiko Gatsby, the Wisteria Witch, and welcome to my virtual cottage as we travel back through time to Animazement 1999. Where were you on March 18th through the 21st, 1999? So, let's go on ahead. Shoujo manga artist Iwatase, Rurika Fuyuki, and Yukaku Midori joined anime fans at the North Raleigh Hilton. Excuse me. I talk a lot during these streams. Of course, I am a VTuber, so sometimes I'm going to have to drink a cup of tea in between reading and educating y'all on the year 1999. We'll start with a look at the first people who gathered in Raleigh, North Carolina for the second Animazement. All right, who showed up? First person of note spotted at the convention hotel, Toshifumi Yoshida of Viz Communications. That company provided manga giveaways for Animazement fans and planned to show a new film at the convention. First artist spotted, Michael Hayes, fresh from his panel takeover at Katsucon 1 month earlier. Hayes was one of 6 artists scheduled to hold panels and workshops during Animazement. First guest of honor spotted, shoujo manga artist Rurika Fuyuki and Yukaku Midori. Fuyuki was at the inaugural Animazement in 1998, and Midori was making her first trip to the US. Both arrive at the convention with a fan escort in a massive limousine. Fan favorites spotted, Tiffany Grant, voice actor who has been giving life to Chocolate Misu, in the Sorcerer Hunters dub under productions by ADV Films. And Fred Perry, creator of Gold Digger. Perry, who served in the Gulf War, spent Thursday afternoon talking about some new military hardware. Wonder if that military hardware is going to protect us from Y2K in this past year of 1999. From the Oh My Goddess and Shinesman dubs come Juliet Beldandy Cesario and Scott Keiichi Simpson. They're full of talk about new roles and auditions. With fellow actors Michael Brady, who had a story about an odd audition, and Dave Underwood, who said his work was in vending machines but not providing voices to them. I wonder what kind of vending machines we're talking about here. Hanging around in the general vicinity was Scott Houle of Coastal Recording Studios, the company that produces many anime dubs. That studio in Wilmington, North Carolina was right in the path of a hurricane last year, but everyone got out okay. If you took a wrong step at Animazement on Preview Thursday, you ended up with the North Carolina Association of Compensatory Educators. Head down the hall and you found a technical review meeting of business plumbers, business suits on one side of the hall, and anime t-shirts on the other side. All right, what else did Day Zero have to offer? Then we'll meet the guests of honor in an informal setting. I used to miss these guests of honor meet and greets. These were a thing like back in the early 2000s, late 90s, where you can do like a meet and greet with the guest of honor. Sometimes for like a minimal extra cost. Anime Expo used to do that for like $10 extra. Anime Central, they used to let you do that. All right, Animazement 99 is dedicated to shoujo manga and anime, the romantic melodramatic art form aimed at women. Iwatase Fushigi Yugi, artist and one of the leaders in that art form, was so popular when she appeared at Anime Expo in 1998. Wish I was there. And she felt compelled to return to the US in 1999. The fans wanted me to come back, so I did. They said at Animazement on Thursday night. Watase had spent the day shopping and was carrying a bag containing Beanie Babies. You can tell this is from the 90s because back then, Beanie Babies were our fungible investments, if you will. But she was, sorry, but they were back at the hotel and ready to meet fans at Animazement's pre-con night. Fans got a chance to sit down and speak with the guests of honor. Accompanying Watase on their right is Nozomi Suzuki, who edits Watase's manga, and on their left, Toshima Yoshida of Viz, which publishes Fushigi Yugi in North America. Rurika Fuyuki enjoyed the first Animazement so much she wanted to come back for a second and asked fellow artist Yukako Midori to come with her. Why do Japanese readers enjoy shoujo style so much? Maybe someone wants to see something they can't do, Midori said. Maybe they want it to be something they can't be, so they read it in manga. Midori experienced something similar in North Carolina she'll never experience in Japan, a ride in a 40-foot limousine. Our roads are too narrow, she said. Nobuyuki Takahashi of Studio Heart was at Animazement in 98, and he also came back for 1999. His 1998 visit came a few weeks before the launch of the AX magazine, aimed at Japanese anime manga fans. Takahashi brought new copies of the magazine and new insights on the state of the anime industry. Here's the second of the three English language goddesses from Oh My Goddess, Pamela Skuld Wiedner. The third goddess, Linnell Erd Markgraf, was not on hand. She moved to California. One of the guests of honor didn't make the trip. Yasuhiro Imagawa, the man in charge of the Giant Robo series, who had planned to show his new Virgin Fleet series at Animazement, had to cancel because of illness. There were some people in costume on Thursday night. The day was early when the costumers appeared in the halls, and our camera was there to see them. All right, let's take a look at costuming, or rather cosplay, in 1999. All right, we got our three goddesses present. We got some Y2K fashion over here. One of the things I liked about Kevin's Fansview website is he also showcased like a lot of fashion styles at the time. Not necessary cosplay, but you can tell what people were wearing at conventions at the time, even just by looking at the backgrounds of people just walking in and out. The style of hall cosplay photography has been my inspiration as to why I mainly do hall cosplay photos at anime conventions, because I also want to capture the time period. I want to also capture the location, and it doesn't bother me if people are in the background, because it also shows you like, okay, what were people wearing back then? What were the demographics like? Yeah, you can kind of see here this guy with his anime t-shirt. Got Toski over there. I do love Toski. He's my favorite in Fushigi Yugi. I always thought that I was a Tamahome girly. Oh, there's Lord Nakago. Ugh. No, but these are amazing Fushigi Yugi cosplays, and it's a great time to, back then to be a Fushigi Yugi cosplayer, because I cosplay as Miyaka at conventions. People think I'm from Genshin Impact. Shoujo manga artists Rurika Fuyuki and Yukako Midori demonstrated their artistry to Animazement fans. All right. People attending Animazement had a chance to meet shoujo manga artist Yukako Midori and Rurika Fuyuki on Friday afternoon. The fans jumped at the chance when the artist asked the fans to come to the drawing table and watch how they created sketches for their manga. They flocked to the front of the room and surrounded the table for a close look. I have an ideal picture in my mind, Midori said. The structure of the girl's face and the hair in the drawing came quickly together, but the eyes took as long as the rest of Midori's sketch. The eyes are the windows of your heart, she said. Although manga eyes are known for their expressiveness, there's no special or separate training to draw these orbs, Midori said. It's just a part of the accepted manga technique. The eyes were equally elaborate in Fuyuki's sketch. That's why we're so careful in drawing eyes. They show the character's emotional feelings. I'm trying to put all of myself into my character, said Fuyuki. Those character and these stories that accompany them reflect the fantasies of the artist and the reader, she said. Often Fuyuki think of character design and then later creates a story for the characters. Both women, Fuyuki seen on the left and Dori on the right, loved shoujo manga as children and started creating their own comics and stories when they were about 10 years old. They turned professional at 16 and 18 years of age, very young for a comic artist who started a professional career in the US, but typical among manga artists. And both were self taught. Nobuyuki Takahashi, a studio heart, worries about the future of anime. He spoke about his concerns, saying that the current good times may not last. All right, what doomsayer predictions do you have for us, Nobuyuki Takahashi, the inventor of the term known as cosplay? And remember, I also wanted to remind y'all that Nobuyuki Takahashi has also said if you don't make your own costumes, you're not a real cosplayer. So, yeah. This was actually documented in the previous Animazements. So, anywho. Japan has more of its share of problems with a slumping economy, and you might think that this is a cause for concern in the anime industry. Nobuyuki Takahashi, head of Studio Hard, takes the contrary view. Things are going too well, and the money being put in anime industry may not be helping the development of new shows and talent. On top of that, there's a big competitor for the talent pool, and that once went into anime and manga that could cause more problems. According to Takahashi, most of the companies that put money into anime for television are looking for a major hit so they can make money by selling tapes of the shows, as happened with the breakthrough Neon Genesis Evangelion. But with 100 anime shows on Japanese television in a typical week, only 20 of those shows will be a commercial success. Takahashi worries that eventually the investors will stop putting so much money into anime production and the number of programs will drop. The bubble economy that the Japanese in the anime industry is experiencing will see a winter in the next few years, said Takahashi. All right, so this is 1999. Let's think about the anime that came out in 2000, 2001, 02, 03, and so forth. I know, in my opinion, at least being an American watching anime in the US, those were some peak years. At the same time, the young artists need to keep anime fresh in the coming years, being drawn to another venue, the lucrative video game industry. Takahashi is concerned that the bright creative minds are making games instead of anime, and the quality of the future anime will suffer. Joining the video game industry is a sweet smelling but dangerous trap for young designers, Takahashi said. Takahashi hopes to fill what he sees as a gap in the coverage of anime in Japan and revive a project that wasn't going his way. The AX Anime magazine he had started just before Animazement 98 in cooperation with Sony Magazines was turning into more of an otaku and children's magazine. Takahashi wanted something more like Cinefantastique or Variety in the US, a magazine that took a critical look at anime and covered the technical and creative side of the industry. A new branch at Studio Hard has been created to pursue that project, which may end up as a webpage one day. My favorite, Uwatase enjoyed a session of answering questions from their fans about their career and the things they enjoy. Well, look how close these fans are to Uwatase over here. That's insane. The room was packed with when manga artist Uwatase sat down to answer the questions of Animazement fans. The popular creator of Fushigi Yugi was prepped with enthusiastic inquiries. What were their favorite video games? Final Fantasy and Resident Evil. Good choice. How far has their current manga project gone? 10 volumes and still growing. What did they like when they were in junior high school? Rumiko Takahashi manga. I can see that. What is their favorite anime? Nothing now, but they watched everything on TV when they were younger and really enjoyed Galaxy Express 39 and Space Cruiser Yamato. How old was they when they decided to draw? Watasi said they started making their own comics when they were 5 years old. What is their favorite music? Techno, classical, kanoyoko. What does they draw with? What does they draw with? A G pen and Dr. Martin's ink. What is Watase's advice to young artists? Don't be too self-indulgent. When you do your stories, keep in mind on what your readers want. How do they come up with these stories? If I try to concentrate on things I need to create. I get confused. I just sit there and the ideas pop into my head. I find when I'm listening to music, the ideas come up. And what does Watase think of the people who dress up from characters from their manga? Well, they do that really well, they said. I love this gaggle of Shuki Yugi fans here. You can see this Utena cosplayer right here is like, um, Watase, I have a question. The actors whose voices adorn the English language of Oh My Goddess also had a chance to talk about their lives and dubs in general. What do Pamela Wiedner, the English language sculpt in the dub of Oh My Goddess, and Dave Underwood, the voice of Almighty, in the same dub have in common? Both played Lucy in the musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Wiedner was in high school when she played the part. Underwood was not a girl at the time. Okay, let me read this one more time. Underwood, who was not a girl at the time and never has been a girl, was 8 years old, attending a Catholic boys' school where there were no girls to handle the part. I was the soprano back then, Underwood said. That Charlie Brown link extended to two other Goddess cast members. Scott Simpson, who was Keiichi in the anime dub, played Linus in an amateur production. Juliet Cesario, best known as Belle Dandy, tried out for a Charlie Brown production in high school and wasn't cast for the show. After a year's voice training, she got the part in a production of Grease the following year. Weeder admits she's a bit of a brat, which made her role as Skuld easy to handle, but she enjoys playing parts that make audiences feel good. Underwood is developing a reputation as a bad guy in anime dubs. He hints that he'll be a total scumbag in an upcoming release. Simpson said his long monologue in the Goddess episode was one of his favorite speeches in the series, but it was aimed at Cesario, with whom he lives. Cesario enjoys the spells she casts in the series, especially the one that rebuilt the old rundown temple. All the actors admitted that the dubs aren't word-for-word translations and that they are interpretations aimed at getting the story across to a general audience and not necessarily for the hardcore anime fans. And there was a growing group of people in costume on Friday afternoon at Animazement. All right, any photos here? All right, let's try the next page. The unfortunate thing about Web Archive, it doesn't have like all the photos saved here, but there's a few that we can rescue, like Shinji here. I hardly see people do this version of Shinji, this version of the plug suit. And you can see in the background here, it looks like it's an anime club in the background table. Got some Sakuras from Street Fighter. And that's that for Friday for cosplay there. All right, let's move on to Saturday. Here's a glance at the people who became their favorite anime and manga characters at Animazement on Saturday. Okay, as we go through this, I'm going to sip on my tea because I've been talking for quite some time. Okay, we have Ranma. We have someone from Yamato, maybe? I haven't seen it. Okay, we have Shugi Yugi over here. Oh, I really dig this cloak. We have Utena cosplayers here. Love it. We have shampoo. We have Casual Friday, Gendo Ikari. Oh, we got some Sailor Senshi. That's adorable. I love it. I love seeing early Sailor Moon cosplays. Regardless of what skill level, it's just so wholesome to see people just make something where there weren't a lot of tutorials back then. You kind of had to figure it out as you went. Yeah, look at all the satin back then. You have Ginrei from Giant Robo. Larva from Vampire Prince Mew. Yeah, a lot of memories here. Mew is one of my favorite horror animes. All right. Well, Yasuhiro Imagawa wasn't in the US on Sunday, but he still managed to speak to Animazement fans. This is how Yasuhiro Imagawa, director, producer, and screenwriter, looked when he appeared at Animazement 98. Imagawa had planned to return to North Carolina for Animazement 99, but illness kept him back in Japan. Talk was he was recovering from a gallbladder surgery. While Imagawa did not make it to Raleigh, he did make an appearance of sorts. Thanks to a long distance and not inexpensive phone call, a teleconference phone was found, and the same translator who would have had sat next to Imagawa instead sat next to the telephone and interpreted his comments. All right, we got a raid here. You just came in time for us to talk about Yasuhiro Imagawa. Well, Imagawa's latest project is Virgin Fleet, the story of an all-female, all-virgin crew of a warship who have special powers if they remain virgins. Okay, that trope. Okay, whatever. Animazement fans wanted to know more about the giant Robo series that Imagawa had handled. He's not like a super robot who would be pulling weapons out of nowhere, said Imagawa. He'd be like a piece of construction equipment. To emphasize that this is the reason that giant Robo has rivets all over his body. The title of robot also doesn't speak because Imagawa thinks a strong, silent type is more powerful as mecha are concerned. Imagawa spent a lot of time talking about his dismissal from the Ghetto Robo project, showing that is still a sore point with him. While Imagawa didn't want the details reproduced on the internet, it's safe to say he lost a job because he was late with the project and there was a lot of pressure to finish on time. It should be noted that Imagawa was a couple of years late finished Giant Robo. Also, Imagawa hinted if he had stayed on Ghetto Robo, there would have some obvious links between that series and Giant Robo. All right, thank you so much, Anime Jam Session, for just rating our channel. We'd love having you here. Like I said, you came in just in time for our re-record of our Animazement coverage of Kevin Lillard's Animazement 99 report. Two of the people who handle anime and manga translations spoke about how their work goes and how their work product influenced Japanese productions. And feel free to comment in the chat, say hi. I can make some commentary in between reading. Okay, Scott Houle and Shin Kurokawa. It's fashionable for some hardcore anime fans to complain about English language translations, saying they're not true to the original or dumbed down for a general audience. Two men who deal with those translations had their say on Saturday at Animazement: Scott Houle of Coastal Recording, who directs dubbing projects, and Shin Kurokawa, who creates translations for companies such as Anime Eigo. These two men have told fans that Japanese producers pay close attention to the dubs and translations they produce, implying that the tapes wouldn't be released in English if the original producers didn't approve. Houle told a story where a dub he directed changed the acting style on one series, You're Under Arrest. Houle chose an over-the-top aggressive-sounding performance for the character of the tomboyish policewoman Natsumi when he handled the dubs for the episodes and one of two of the series. Episodes 1 and 2 in the series. Episode 3 hadn't been finished when the English dubs of the first few episodes were sent back to Japan. Houle said his interpretation of Natsumi so impressed the Japanese producers that they used it as a model for writing scripts for the rest of the You're Under Arrest series. The two men emphasize that translations of anime are interpretations, attempts to get the meaning of a story across and not just the words. The Japanese audience is feeling something, said Houle, and we have to get those feelings across. Even if the language has been changed, it is an artistic thing, it's a story. Kurokawa said the most difficult part of translating anime is getting across the jokes and puns. If something is based on Japanese words that look like or pictograms that look like, it's hard to get the meaning across. When that happens, Kurokawa has to create a new pun that makes sense in English. That won't be an exact translation, but it works if it gets across the meaning of the joke, he said. All All right, who remembers Anime Village? If you remember Anime Village, mention that in the chat and mention that in the comments. I'd like to see people. If you bought something from Anime Village, definitely mention that in the chat. I don't think I have. I was too young at the time to purchase things online. I think I was too young to have a PayPal account. Anyway, AnimeVillage.com, the online video sales arm of Bandai Entertainment, is not quite 1 year old, but the division of the major Japanese entertainment and toy company is planning some changes. When Bandai America, the video arm of the US subsidiary of the huge Bandai Corporation Japan, decided to go into the anime business in America, they started online. The AnimeVillage.com website was launched in the summer of '98, just after Anime Expo. At Animazement, Nobu Yamamoto and Jirichio Bandai America said that they will branch out from the online sales to retail sales. Tapes of the series such as Saber Marionette and Gundam will be sold at video outlets like Blockbuster, Suncoast, and Sam Goody. Those major retail changes have led to the rush towards making anime part of the American mainstream scene. The AnimeVillage.com website will remain and will be revised. Now we're trying to make it look like a space station, Yamamoto said, to attract more people to the website. Bandai hopes to have new features such as online chats with anime creators from Japan. There's also talk of AnimeVillage.com costume contests that would offer anime expo trips as prizes. Bandai is a big company, Yamamoto said, and the AnimeVillage.com division has to compete and cooperate with other divisions. They receive support from the game division from the Japanese anime subsidiaries such as Sunrise, but they also have to bid on American video rights to the Bandai anime series. Yamamoto acknowledged the early problems that AnimeVillage.com had with shipments, said that they still looking to improve that part of the business. If you had visited Richard Kekahuna at AnimeVillage.com booth at Animazement, you would have found a collection of anime series VHS tapes on sale. Yamamoto said he hopes to get some DVD licenses for existing series so they can sell them online. Also, in their future plans are Gundam Master Grade models of the Gundam 0083 and Gundam Wing Mecha, and the Witchblade models of Escaflowne, Mecha, and characters. Evening, Azure. Welcome to our re-record of Animazement because the audio got kind of funky. You're just in time here for us to talk about Uwatase yet again. They were a very popular personality here at Animazement. All right, when Uwatase spoke to anime fans about their Fushigi Yugi series, so many people showed up at Animazement had to use 2 meeting rooms to hold them. I do dig Uwatase's like animal print style top here, so Y2K. I love it. Animazement had to remove a divider and combine 2 meeting rooms to accommodate the number of fans who wanted to hear from manga artist Uwatase about their Fushigi Yugi series. While the series is remarkably popular, it nearly never happened. Watase said at first the editors at their manga company didn't like their idea of a time-traveling junior high school girl. When she got their permission to start the series, they fretted about its chances. Now that it's a success, it's all up to you, Watase told the appreciative audience. Fushigi Yugi bounces back and forth between modern-day Japan and ancient China, and Watase had to research Chinese history to get the details right. I started to respond very quickly to anything Chinese, they said. I started to collect a lot of books. For 4.5 years, it was a very hard road. I think what was most lost during that time was sleep. Fushigi Yugi fans peppered Watase for details of their characters and their motivations. He was just drunk, okay, they joked about one character. When asked why Miyaka seems to be eating or hungry, they responded that, I don't know, junior high school students are different in the US. In Japan, they're always chowing down. When everything goes right, a story seems to write itself, Watase said. In a lot of cases, the characters took on a different life of their own and went in different directions, and I ask, why are you doing this? Okay, let's check out more cosplay from 1999. If you know these cosplays, shout them out in the comments, shout them out in the chat. Aw, there's Cardcaptor Sakura. I'm actually making this specific outfit of Sakura's. Looks like people here are in line for Uwatase's panel. Got Chibi Moon, Musou, Bill Dandy, Captain Tyler, and Sailor Starfighter. I want to say this is Katra. I'm not sure. I don't want to make any assumptions. We got Sailor Star Healer? I only know Starfighter. My apologies. We have Garcia. I forgot what his first name was. I know it's King of Fighters, but I forgot who it was. I still need to learn how to play that game. So odd that at an anime con, I went to the hentai room, and they had a King of Fighters game there. Have Haruka Michiru over there. Ryoga trying to find his way. Have Goku over there. Alright, let's take a look at the cosplay contest. Animazement's largest crowd gathered for an over-the-top costume contest. Alright. Let's take a look-see here. There's Utena. Again, if you know any of these fandoms that I might not know, shout them out in the chat. Shout them out in the comments. If you recognize any persons in the costume contest or any part of this live stream, this take on Animazement 1999, do share it with them and do let me know in the comments. I love how looks like here Gendo's giving grief counseling sessions. Okay, we got Team Rocket. Got Johnny Bravo. Looks like this is just a random fighting kind of thing here. We have Utena versus Rei Ayanami. That's I'm trying to imagine what that matchup would be like, Utena versus Rei. Got Tifa from Final Fantasy. Sometimes I just wonder what's going on when you see a mix of characters on the stage. Have Oh My Goddess, Sailor Scouts on Strike. Got Sailor Marionette. It looks like Van Finel from Escaflowne and a Kenny plush. Oh, nice. Giant Robo. You don't really see that every day. I remember a couple of my friends in the Bay Area used to cosplay from Giant Robo. I even had a friend over in the Midwest who was really obsessed with Giant Robo. I forgot who they cosplayed as, but they were also a huge fan of Giant Robo. Okay, let's look at the winners of the cosplay contest, shall we? The judges handed out prizes to some of the youngest cosplayers ever. All right, let's take a look. Aw, Best of Show went to the kiddos. That's so cute. Well, it looks like we have our tiny Sailor Senshi and a tiny Shinji Ikari. Talk about wholesome. And Shinji's depression was cured by the power of friendship. Okay, and then we have Giant Robo for Advanced. First place went to that guy. All right, second place went to a very random act. I'm just trying to figure out who's who. I know that's Ryoga. I know that's Goku. I know that's Erd. I'm is the guy in the middle, the guy in the black gi, supposed to be Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar or something? We have Oh My Goddess. I love that belt Eddie. Yay, Sakura! I'm actually making the Sakura cosplay. Looks so cute. We have Uten and Toga. Special awards. It's like Sakura got something else. Got something for Johnny Bravo. Got one for Saber Marionette J, Bloodberry, Giant Robo, Yu-Gi-Oh, that guy, Field Andy, and the Sailor Scouts on strike. Alright, let's venture into our last day of Animazement. Alright, Fushigi Yugi fans held their own mini-con at Animazement on Sunday afternoon, and they were visited by a surprise guest. The most ardent fans of Fushigi Yugi series of anime and manga gathered for one last time on the morning of Animazement's final day. This otaku paradise was a lot like a meeting of local Fushigi Yugi fan club. The people who squeal with delight at a convention whenever their beloved mysterious play is shown or mentioned. These fans had their own trivia game show where they tried to outguess each other. They had a character imitating contest and reenacted character dances. Yes, they were aware that Makona is not in Fushigi Yugi, but the otaku thought that the round thing was too cute to leave out of the show. I agree. And they showed a collection of Fushigi Yugi music videos on the largest screen in the convention hotel. It makes a big impression when Miyaka's throbbing anime eyes are 4 feet across. And all of this could have happened just about any gathering of teenage girls who love Fushigi Yugi. Except they had a guest that goes beyond a fan club's wildest dreams. Yu Watase, the series creator. When Watase appeared at an Animazement panel, the otaku asked them if they would come to their Sunday event. Watase said yes, quietly slipped into the room. They were in the red dress and sat back to watch a show. They giggled with delight when the American fans put on dances they had created. Talk about wholesome. I don't think you can get away with something like this these days. Alright. The creator of Virgin Fleet Anime sent a stand-in to represent him at a Sunday panel. Oh boy. Unable to travel from Japan to North Carolina because of illness, anime director Yasuhiro Imagawa sent an experienced performer as his replacement. And you don't believe that? What really happened was that Imagawa made a Sunday phone call to Animazement to speak to fans. Taking his place at the guest's table was a red Teletubby. Imagawa is a Teletubby fan. The figure is wearing bunny ears because this is the year of the rabbit. The latest project from Imagawa, seen at Animazement 1998, is called Virgin Fleet. It's based loosely on a video game and is a tale of teenage girls who make up the all-female crew of a World War II-style warship. As the title suggests, all the crews are virgins. All the crew are virgins, and those virgins have a special power that makes the warship more powerful. Imagawa had to fill the gaps left by the game designers to make the game into an animated film. It was written by people with a military fetish. It had plenty of weapon specs, but no plot at all. A story about teenage virgins who depend on their virginity might seem to have all sorts of ecchi possibilities. Imagawa said he wanted to create a romantic melodrama and not porn. What I really wanted to show was a story of adolescent girls growing up in Japan, said Imagawa. I hoped by using the virginity angle, I would create something that would bring pity patters to your heart. While the Virgin Fleet might look as if it's set in World War II, Imagawa didn't want to set the story in that war. Too many people have vivid memories of the war and what it meant, he said. Rather, Imagawa set the story in an alternate universe concentrated on the character's reaction to a ceasefire during a fictional war. Okay. People in Animazement got to learn more about Japanese culture and the anime industry on Sunday. So this is Kevin's speed through of various panels at the con. The collection of English language voice actors met with fans for a final time on Sunday afternoon before they scattered around the country for their various projects. Some of them were set to handle the first sessions on a new dub. Some actors said they worked for anime fans before they handled their first dubbing project, while others said they became fans after they took on jobs on anime. All said they were impressed with enthusiasm shown by people at conventions such as Animazement. Shin Kurakawa creates some of its translations that lead to dub and subtitle scripts. I'm basically a human version of C3PO, he said on Sunday. Kurakawa said he can pump out some Japanese to English translations, complete with the complete with the timing information needed by directors and actors in a matter of hours. Some of that ability might come from Kurakawa's old job as a musician. To understand anime, you should understand Japan. Animazement staged some panels to educate fans on Japanese culture. The panel pictured here taught fans about the Japanese language. It said that language where words are pictograms show a visual emphasis that leads to an enthralling creativity of anime. Another class looked at the differences between American and Japanese cultures. The Japanese need to save face, and the ritual politeness can make anime's conflicts seem like a major fantasy when compared to everyday life. Archery can be considered a martial art in Japan. Dan Prospero, holding the bow and arrow, demonstrated the subtleties of Japanese archery. You may have heard that the Japanese archery is demanding a test of control, concentration, and skill. The Prospero told why that's the case. Archers use a very loose grip on their weapons, so loose that it's easy to drop that arrow even for an experienced archer. That loose grip also makes it easy for an archer to miss his target high and to the right, another barrier for archers to overcome. After things were over, the author managed to extrude a few thoughts about Animazement out of his head. All right, let's read Kevin's final thoughts on Animazement. People kept asking if the author liked Animazement. The author is a kind of person, if you ask, "How are you doing?" He has to stand to think and think for a couple of minutes before giving an answer. In this case, the answer was an unqualified yes, but it wasn't a quiet time. It was a busy weekend for the author, dashing between in-string panels held at the same time in neighboring rooms and rushing to the laptop to piece together the webpage updates. There was a lot going on, and everyone going to Animazement would have had a hard time getting bored. Animazement took great strides forward in its second year. There were 16 anime and science fiction conventions around the US on the March 19th through 21st weekend. One of those conventions was at High Point, North Carolina, a short drive from Raleigh. With all that competition, Animazement still grew. Over 1,200 people attended the second edition of the anime convention, nearly double from the first edition. Where did all those people come from? It looks as if most of them traveled from the Triangle, a growing region spurred by development of high-tech business in Raleigh and Durham. North Carolina, a state that proudly displays a World War II battleship, is changing, or maybe it isn't. There was a story in the news and Observer over the convention weekend about a raid on the state's biggest moonshine operation in 40 years. A 475-gallon still was broken up, according to the paper. Beyond stills, the convention showed staying power. Nearly all the first-year Animazement guests returned for the second year, when the first-year guest actor Amanda Winley spent much of the weekend encouraging fans to buy Pocky from the Anime Online Network. And those who want to attend the third Animazement have a date and location, March 10th through 12th, 2000, at the same North Raleigh Hilton. Animazement's determination to please its fans showed in the way they handled their main disappointment. When anime director Yasuhiro Imagawa couldn't make the return trip to the US, the convention faced a couple of holes in their panel schedule. The solution wasn't cheap, but it was effective. Animazement arranged for Imagawa to call North Carolina and conduct both his panels by phone. And even when something big went wrong, the convention was lucky. Animazement had as a convenient blackout as a convention can have. The power went out in the Raleigh North Hilton apparently because a lightning strike from a storm. However, the blackout happened at 7:30 a.m. in the morning and only lasted for an hour. Maybe this is a sign that things went well for Animazement. Only 5 people showed up on Sunday for the Sunday afternoon gripe session. All right, and that's it for Animazement 1999. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed coming here to my virtual cottage where we can discuss anime convention history. And if you like to delve more into this era of anime fandom, I do have a book coming out very soon. It's coming soon. I promise. I am in the last stages of getting this book done. You can check out the Fangirl Diaries from McFarland Publishing. This is my book about anime fandom in the late 90s and early 2000s. So if you want to know what was my lived experience like, it's very easy to piece together. There's actually another book that's coming out um, that talks more matter of factly about the history of the time. This is what it was like to be a cringy teenager at the time. What did cringe look like, and how did you discover and find anime? And how did you like discover and find anime at the time too? Anyway, so with that said, we're about to end the stream, but I just wanted to just give a shout out to a couple of my sponsors here. You also have our sponsor here, Petals and Poison, and you can get 15% off your purchase if you use my code Spectre15. And with that said, do we have any other things to shout out here? Yes, our stream is ending for the night. However, I am here on Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But sometimes I might pop in. I might just do a random play of League of Legends or whatever this and that I feel like. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, the convention is what you make of it. So make it a good one. And with that said, definitely support my book. Information on my book is in the bio section, about section, whatever that's called. I'm tired. My voice needs a rest. And with that said, again, just thank you for just tuning in. Always appreciate having familiar faces in here. Always appreciate having some folks in here that I haven't seen in a while. And always appreciate your support too, because your support really means a lot. So in the About section, I do have my link to my Ko-Fi. Definitely give us a subscribe if you have the means. Definitely donate to our Ko-Fi if you have the means. Always appreciate the support from our fans and our followers. And with that said, we are winding down for the night.